Good evening, everybody. Uh, my name is Jose Negron, and welcome to another channel, another episode of Uncommon Sense. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with my channel, the reason why I call it Uncommon Sense, it is because of the fact um, I'm trying to deal with everyday problems with practical solutions. And unfortunately, not everyone uses logic. Now, in tonight's stream, I'm going to be discussing um, my personal situation and how I became a homeowner. So, what I'm going to do is drop the link. Okay. Now, just to let everybody know, tonight I am currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope in Twitter. Now, the fact of the matter is there's a lot of misconceptions regarding becoming a homeowner. That's the reason why I'm sharing my personal experience. Basically, my journey started 4.5 years ago. Now, back in 2017, okay, and we have. Good evening, Joaquin.
Good evening, Jose. How you doing today?
Okay, fine, thank you. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. I can't complain. Out here trying to eat a little healthy, so I got myself a roasted chicken, got some brown rice that I cooked, gonna make a little bit of cabbage, and just trying to make sure I get my nutrients and lay off of that fast food for a little bit.
Yes, I don't blame you. I mean, the problem with the fast food is very high in carbs and whatnot. But let me just get into my story. As I stated just now, it started 4.5 years ago, and at the time, I was looking to rent an apartment. So I actually went to the Bronx. I started filling out an application to rent an apartment. But then I started to think, with the amount of money I'm going to be paying for rent, maybe I'll do better if I became a homeowner.
Right.
Okay. So just so happens here in New York City, um, for those of us who are municipal employees, one of the biggest municipal unions is District Council 37. So what they have is they have a first-time home owners program for individuals like myself who wish to own our own home. So what I did was I went to a opening seminar, gathered some information, then I began my process. Now, I had to submit a lot of paperwork, which was 2 years of my tax returns, uh, W-2s for 2 years, um, also pay stubs for 2 months. I also have to supply my credit card statements, and I had an individual counseling session. Now, at the end of the counseling session, I was hooked up with someone who actually gave me a pre-approval for a mortgage. Now, generally speaking, when you get a pre-approval, it's usually 3 to 4 times your annual salary. And it's very important because once you get a pre-approval for a mortgage, then you can start looking. Okay. Um, for those of you who do not, I'm not familiar with New York City. It's separated by 5 counties known as boroughs. So then I started thinking about where to start my search. Um, Brooklyn was too pricey for me. In fact, a one-bedroom apartment condo started at 300,000, and that was 4.5 years ago. Queens is just about expensive, and you can forget about Manhattan. Manhattan is just it's just too pricey. I thought about Staten Island, but then I decided to focus my search in the Bronx. Um, the fact of the matter is, out of the 5 boroughs, is one of the few areas in the city where you can kind of afford property. Now, I was clear why I wanted. I did not want to buy a house. I was not looking into a co-op. I was looking to a condominium. And let me explain to you what's the difference between a co-op and a condominium. A co-op is you don't own the apartment, you own shares of the building. And in order for you um, to purchase the co-op, you must have approval of the co-op board. So they can say yay or they can say nay. Uh, with a condominium, you actually own the physical apartment itself. So once I figure out what I was looking for, once I figure out which areas of the Bronx that I wanted to start my search, the next question was to find a real estate agent. And that was a difficult situation because trying to find an agent that was willing to work with me. And to be perfectly honest, I had to change agents 3 times before I found someone that was willing to work with me. Because one of the problems is they wanted me to sign a contract. And the pitfall of that is once you do that, you're stuck with that agent and it's very hard to get out of the contract. So I did find a good agent, and I started looking. And I looked and I looked. I saw some properties I wanted to buy. I made a couple of offers which were not accepted. Until October 2017. I came across a 2-bedroom apartment in Parkchester, and I made an offer, and it was accepted. Now I have to put on a down payment. Let me just explain to you what you're going to need in order to seriously purchase property. First of all, you have to put away some money. In my case, I put away, say, $10,000. At least have that much. You also have a good credit history. Fortunately, I had that. Then you have to start thinking in terms of what's going to be your expenses, plus having to pay for a mortgage. Now, after I made the down payment, I have to hire someone to do an inspection. And that person inspected the apartment, and I got the report. And then there was a certain length of time from the point that the offer was accepted until I was able to close the deal. Now, let me just Joaquin, what you want to? Yeah, if you have anything you'd like to share, Joaquin, can you unmute yourself?
Sorry about that. I was talking and didn't even realize I was muted.
It's
But yeah,
okay.
that's very that's very good information to know, especially maneuvering through real estate in New York City because unfortunately things are being gentrified in the city of New York, which has caused prices to skyrocket. So certain
Yes,
properties that was once available that were for the working class um, community of New York City are going for three times as much now. As you would say when you were looking for homes in Brooklyn, which 15 years ago to 20 years ago, you could have got homes in Brooklyn for relatively cheap. So that's very interesting to know and just trying to understand how to maneuver through major big cities where the property prices are increasing and just know what you can get for your money, what to come prepared with to be able to get the best that you can get for your money.
okay. First of all, let's walk in. Denise, good evening, Denise. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, Jose. Hi, Rakim. I'm good.
I don't
Hey
know if you,
Denise, how you doing?
I don't know
Good,
if you,
good.
I don't know if you got anything that I was talking about. Do you want me
Not
to?
really. I just came from the gym, so
Okay,
sorry.
I was just relaying my story, how I became a homeowner, and just to give a brief summary, so to speak. I started looking 4 years ago. Um, I was able to get a pre-approval for a mortgage, which was 3 to 4 times my annual salary. Because once you have the pre-approval and you put away some money, you can start looking.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what? The thing is, I think one of the challenges that not only our community faces, but many people in America is that there's not a lot of, I would say, spread out information about how to obtain a home.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of programs. It's just how willing you are to actually complete this process. But there's even programs in the United States where you can get a property with no down payment. You just have to be willing to go through the very lengthy and complicated process of the NACA.
Mhm.
But you can actually acquire a home with no down payment if that is one of your challenges. Just fix up your credit. I think that's the first um, issue that a lot of people have. It's like we don't value our credit until we need it, and
True.
that is unfortunately the case for so many Americans. And on top of that, we have been hit with so many different things that the credit of the nation itself, it's in the toilet.
Yeah.
So, when you come from people that are like that and you add the overspending, you add the propaganda, you add the fact that people keep purchasing things that they're not going to, um, how can I say, that it's not going to ensure them like, you know, a life where they can retire comfortably. It's a perfect storm for people to eventually be either homeless or, when they're middle aged, go through a lot of financial stress. And it's because of the lack of, it's not the lack of resources, like Tony Robbins says, it's the lack of being resourcefulness. Is the lack of resourcefulness more than lack of resources. There's no excuse for people to not own a home unless you are planning to not own a home. Because, for example, I'm going to take my example in this aspect. I did not wanted to set roots in California.
Mhm.
That's why I am very hesitant to purchase. And even though there's a higher cost involved with renting, because rent here, it's, as many of you guys know, is 125% over the national average. So you will be looking at a very hefty price, but it's a price that you pay in the long run to have your mobility. So of course, if you're not setting roots anywhere, and you know that either for business or because you don't want to be in that specific city, you might need to just pack up and leave, depending on your area of expertise is, or if you're just a freelancer or something like that, and you might want to look to relocate yourself in the next 10 years. I would say purchase a home if it's going to take you 10 years. If you're looking to relocate in the next 5 years, do not purchase a home, because it's going to be more difficult for you, because you will have to then rent, and it's going to be very, very, very difficult. So definitely, there's many avenues to own a property. But definitely this is something that, like I said, we're just, to be honest with you, this is just scratching the surface of real estate, to be honest with you, because real estate is, it comes in different forms. I think we should normalize more often the not buying a single family home, because that's not the route. At least for millennial folks, like if you're okay, if you're over 45, yes, buy a single home family. If you already have your retirement pension or your 401k and you're looking just to settle down, then just purchase a home like a regular single family home. But if it is your first home, um, I think you should invest in a multifamily setting where you can rent the other half of your property and actually live rent free, basically. And even you can buy these properties through the NACA program with no down payment. And actually, you just have to have three times the amount of the mortgage value in revenue and income, and a decent 580 in your credit score, and you'll be good. And you have to be willing to go through the whole process, and on top of that, you have to stay in that home for at least a year. And once you do that, you can rent the other side, the part that you were living on, and move on to the next thing that you want to do. So you can even start a career in real estate if you approach it with, in this way. But it's just how much you're willing to look for the information, how willing you are to actually put in the work. And I think that's where we failed the most.
Mhm. Well, you see, in my case, my credit score was close to 700. So, and I had some money put away. Not a lot, $10,000, but I mean, and a steady income. Um, One of the things I was able to do was to get a down payment grant, which I used to pay the closing costs. For those who do not know, um, the closing costs can be anywhere from 5 to 7% of the sale price, and it covers things as um, deeds and properties and things of that nature. And the fact of the matter was, it was it was a process. The hardest part was trying to find a real estate agent that I could work with, and I found one, and she happened to be a Boricua.
Wepa. Oh Lord. Well, we gotta help each other, but mainly, I think we should discuss this more, like, Lindley. You should do like a part two, and we can dissect real estate. I love talking about real estate, so definitely I'll be here.
You know what? I will do a part two. Let's bring Raheem into it. Raheem, what you have to say?
Sorry, guys, I was muted. I'm doing a little driving. I think Denise definitely covered it. I think that's very important. That you have to make sure that your credit score is intact, because that's a very beneficial tool that you will need when it comes to purchasing property. And oh, I'm sorry, guys, I'm making this quick turn. But yeah, that's something that's very beneficial that you would need when it comes to purchasing property. Also, make sure that you do your research. Make sure that you look into resources that that's available, because there's a lot of resources out there that people are unaware of that can definitely help you when it comes to actually trying to purchase a home. That should be everyone's number one primary objective, to purchase a home and not have to rent into, going into older age where you don't have things set up to actually have some property for your children. God forbid if you happen to leave this earth.
Well, before we continue, just want to say good evening to Troop Teacher and Melanie Knight. That's on the chat. That's on the chat. If you want to, if we want to hop in, by all means do so. If not, it's okay. Um, Now, as I stated before, one of the challenges that I had was to find a good real estate agent. Several of the agents that I encountered wanted me to sign a contract. And the problem I had with that is that, you know, if that person is not performing his or her due diligence, it could be very hard to get out of the contract. So what's your intake on that, Denise?
I'm sorry, I had to go away for a second. Can you say that again, Jose?
Okay, I was just saying one of the challenges that I had
Hmm.
was to find a real estate agent that was willing to work with me.
Yeah,
Period.
definitely. Look, you have people have to understand that the more you're attached by feelings in any aspect when it comes to money and business, the more you utilize your emotions and your feelings, the most likely you are to fail. You briefly explained to me before on an episode in Love Explaining, um, about you talk about how you leverage between two real estate agents. That was a very smart move that not a lot of people do. Don't stay loyal, because, to be honest with you, a lot of these real estate agents are working for their commission as well. And that's your leverage right there. You want them to get you the best deal, the best location, the best properties. And sometimes real estate agents don't necessarily show you everything you want. Sometimes, they are even more proactive and actually interact with other real estate agents in that area that you want to purchase a property. And even though they're not necessarily representing that property, they're willing to split the commission with the actual agent that's in charge of selling that property, and they can make the deal for you simply because they're thinking about, in the long run, just selling you the property that you want and not losing a client. Now, that's not necessarily all the cases with all the real estate agents. Sometimes they just don't want to do that because they're looking at it from their perspective, and they're like, I'm not willing to split a commission with another agent, therefore I'm gonna only show you what's on my inventory and stuff that I believe you might be into. And the portfolio of a lot of real estate agents is very limited sometimes, depending on how big or small the market is at the time, like how many houses they have sold, their expertise or their reputation and whatnot. So yeah, don't stay loyal to real estate agents under any circumstance. Shop for that as well. That was one of the smartest things that you did, Jose. Like, literally, you rarely see people that know how to make a good deal, and that's how you do it.
And to be perfectly honest, it was by pure chance that I did it. I guess, at the risk of sounding preachy. Um,
Humble bragging. Like I tell Monet at night that he does the same thing too, the humble brag. It's not that I'm that smart, it made sense to me, humble bragging.
yeah. But actually, I had one agent. Now, I would be texting him properties that I want him to look into. Unfortunately, he was not all that diligent, and by the time he did respond, the property was already sold or was under contract.
Yeah, you see, what was it on escrow already?
No, I don't think so.
It was
but
an escrow.
I don't recall off the top of my head if it was or was not. All I know is like I'll do a search
Okay.
on my own. I'll take a look at a property um, that I was interested in. So what I will do is I will like copy the link and I will text it to the agent.
Okay.
Unfortunately, by the time the agent finally did move on it, it was already sold. And the fact of the matter is, it's a very competitive market over here. Okay, I assume it's a competitive market everywhere, but particularly in New York. Okay, we okay?
Oh, yeah, yeah, we're here. But definitely, to be honest with you, Jose, is tactics like this that actually make more possible for people like us to acquire some property. And to be honest with you, it's like I told you, you don't know why he was dragging his feet. At the end of the day, and he lost a commission. It's like I said, like make them work and sweat, because at the end of the day, yes, like you mentioned before, it's very competitive, the real estate market. Offers are made every day. That's precisely what drives the prices up and down, depending on how much people are willing to negotiate or settle on different amounts. So let's not forget there's $16 trillion to be made in real estate in the United States alone. So of course, you want to be with somebody that's willing to, fight for you in that environment. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I think you made one of the smartest moves I've seen in our community specifically. People do. People that do this type of deal end up with a good deal. And I've seen a lot of people in our community that has made a deal for the sake of making a deal, and they end up paying even overpriced properties because probably the real estate agent dragged their feet uh, to actually present an offer to the seller, and there's somebody else looking at the same property, or for people that already made an offer, and by the time you make your offer, one person said, hey, you know what, I'm gonna give $10,000 over asking price, and that person wins. you know so it's those things that will make a good or a bad real estate agent. Like when you're looking for one, just look at that,
Mm-hmm.
like that closing power that they might have. That's what makes a good real estate agent.
Interesting. Before I go on, I just want to encourage everyone that's viewing this stream to please um, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's not going to cost you anything, and you will be notified whenever I do upload material. And the fact of the matter is, the reason why I got my property because I made an offer $15,000 more than the original sale price.
Well, and you see, that's precisely what I was mentioning before. That's where you got the deal. Only we can guess, but you can only imagine the amount of people that probably were interested in the same property you were, and
Mm-hmm.
just by you being aggressive with it, you got the property. you know so at the end of the day, one thing we can learn, I believe, from this is, you have to come out in the market as well with the same energy,
Mm-hmm.
that you're going literally to fight for deals, know when to walk away from a ramped up property that eventually will take you longer to get equity. That's another thing that it's like I said, real estate is such a lengthy subject to talk about that, we can stay here for like 9 hours talking about it. But one of the things, another challenge that I would say for people that are investing in real estate for the first time don't understand, especially if in your family this has not happened before, is the fact that, prices can be drawn up. And depending on your plan with real estate, for example, let's say you just want to invest, and you just want to make the equity to reinvest in better real estate, because that's another smart move, like buy a cheaper house in a not so good environment or community or county. Wait a few years, at least 10 years, to be sure and healthy, and just sell and get the equity, you
Mhm.
know. So definitely, there are some times when if you pay overpriced, don't go over 20K, because if you're doing this as an investment to get equity, it's going to take you longer to get the equity, because sometimes another person can be just as aggressive and say, hey, I'm going to offer 20K.
Mhm.
And if they offer 20K, then you will have to offer 25. And let's say that person will offer 30 and you offer 35. And that's what the person says, hey, I'm withdrawing. I'm not going to go over 35. And at that point, yes, you got the property, but because you overbid the property so much, now it's over the price of the market. So by the time that the market inflates to the value of your home, at the value you purchase your property, because it was overpriced, it will take you longer to create that equity. So you also have to know the right time when to call it quits and say, hey, let's just move on to the next property in the same neighborhood or a nearby neighborhood, because I'm not willing to go that much overpriced.
Mhm.
If that makes sense.
It does. And one thing you have to be mindful, what type of property that you want to buy. Okay. Um, there are those who want to buy a house, maybe like a two-family house or a three-family house or just a one-family house. You have others who want to buy a co-op. You have others like myself that purchase a condominium. You have to be clear of what you wish to purchase. Also, you have to be mindful as far as the pre-approval. If you receive a pre-approval, say for 300,000, that means you cannot seriously pursue buying property more than the pre-approval. Now, what is your guys' take on that point?
I'll let Rakim go because I feel like I talk a lot. So go ahead, Rakim.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that question a little bit, Jose?
No,
Yeah.
my point is when you decide to purchase property, you have to know and have a clear understanding what type of property that you plan to purchase. And also, you must be mindful that if you receive a pre-approval for a mortgage for a certain amount, let's say you receive a pre-approval for 300,000, that
Right.
means you should be considering looking for property that says that's valued 400,000 or 400,000 because you're only being approved for 300,000.
Right. Yeah. I definitely agree 100%. You don't definitely want to go overboard when it comes to purchasing, especially if what you're looking to purchase is that the rate is three times higher than the pre-approval rate that you currently have. Because what you'll do is end up getting yourself in a position where it'll take longer to pay down on that house where you'll be able to get equity out of the home.
Mhm. True, and the thing you have, and I think one mistake people fail to do is they need to factor in the price of the cost of the mortgage. You also have to factor in if you plan to purchase a co-op or a condo, you have to factor in the maintenance cost as well. So
Yes, yes,
therefore,
that's true.
because if you fail to take into account the monthly mortgage plus the maintenance charges, what's going to happen is sooner or later you're going to fall behind in either the mortgage or the maintenance or both.
Right. That's true.
Okay. So, Denise, what's your point of view on that point?
Sorry, I missed that last part.
Oh,
We were talking about not overpaying for property, right?
well, actually, what we're talking about is that when you have to factor in um, the cost of the monthly mortgage, and then you have to factor in the maintenance charges.
Yeah, that's what I said. Home ownership is not for everybody, and I get it. That is the dream that we're being sold.
Mhm.
That you're supposed to graduate from high school, get yourself in 150K uh grant, 150K on student loans, then buy a property for at least 250K, and you're already in 350K. That's over $250,000 in debt. And you have to factor in how this really serves you, and if you can actually make it, like if you can make that commitment. Because one of the things that people don't factor in, that's why I said, make sure you make three times the amount of your mortgage payment per year so that you can be comfortable. Because home ownership, if something breaks down in your rental, you call the person that owns the property to get it fixed. That is how it's supposed to be. Now when you own a home, you are the person that will have to call and outsource the plumbers and the electricians and the flooring and the roofing, and all of these issues that happen with home ownership. Everything needs maintenance. It happens all the time, even on our rentals. Like when you rent, you have to paint every certain amount of years so that it can keep it up. You have to have the flooring removed, the bathroom remodeled, and stuff like that. So of course, you know those things, the difference between renting and home ownership is that you have to maintain a healthy emergency fund for home repairs at all times. Not because the house is going to break down at the first time,
That break
the
the
first year,
time.
but at least it's going to start breaking down in the first 3-4 years. And you have to start keeping up the maintenance. And if you bought a fixer upper,
Well,
oh Lord. Or,
one
or
thing,
or those people that love the colonial style. Look, colonial style, Spanish style. Those styles of homes that were built in the 1990s and back. Those homes, you have to put a lot of maintenance in them right now. I would say a healthy home that you can purchase is either a recently completely remodeled colonial or Spanish style home, because it has been already, all these things have been revisited, or purchase a property that has been built from 2015 till today. There's a lot of Rakim, I think you have a lot of background noise.
Oh,
So
okay. I'm sorry about that.
So one thing I would say uh, is that another thing you want to do is have a person come in and actually check the property. You want to call an inspector. Now I understand that there's a lot of sellers that would rather not deal with you if you ask for an inspection as a condition to purchase. But one thing you can do is say, hey, I'm going to bring the inspection. And on top of that, I'll give you, for you to have to wait for the inspection and all this stuff, I'll give you over the asking price 10K or something like that, if that makes sense.
yeah, because that's what I did was after the offer was
I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
okay, because after the offer was accepted, I actually had someone who did an inspection. I think I paid like about $400 or $500, but it was worth it because at least with the inspection, I can see what's the current state of the property, and then make the determination whether or not should I purchase it or not purchase it. So okay, no, but in my case, the seller did not have a problem with me getting someone to inspect the property.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to go. Is with inspecting the property, because you don't want to buy a home that has asbestos. You don't want to buy a home that has termites. You don't want to purchase a property that has water damage or HVAC issues. You don't want these things, because these problems are costly.
Yes.
You don't want foundation issues. You don't want none of those things, because those are the money pit.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are the money pit. Another thing I would say, try to purchase a home that is the closest to things that you cannot live without.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that from what I have seen in many people, that one of the things that people regret the most when purchasing a property is to buy a property that doesn't serve them. This is the place you're going to be living in. You have to look for things that you value the most. Make a list of at least five things you cannot live without,
Mm-hmm.
and settle for three of them, the most important ones. Like, for example, you want like an open concept because you don't want to feel secluded in every space of your home. Then find a home that has been reopened. If it's older, has been remodeled to fix that setting, or if it's a home that will cheaply transform into that. If you want a backyard because you like to be outside and relax after a whole week of work, then go for that as well. And go for a backyard, even if it's not in the state that you want it, but you can always fix it. But those are things that I would say, definitely, you, aside from the inspection, those are the things that have to make your dream house. I think that's the things you should look when purchasing your first property.
I agree. Now, I'm fortunate in the sense. Okay, I'm trying not to say the area where I'm at because I've repeated it like 10 million times. But
Yeah, paradise. He lives in paradise, fellas.
no. But the fact of the matter is this: first of all, where I'm living, there's a lot of stores when I can go shopping. There's a lot of places where I can go to eat if I don't feel like cooking or trying to cook. I'm near transportation. I mean, I can take the train to the city, or I can take the express bus, which I know that these are things that you do not enjoy, which is probably why you're not living in New York, but so be it. Uh,
You know that that's why I'm not living in New York. You know this. New York is too stressful for me. I can. I honestly can.
well, to me, New York is kind of like LA East, except it's a little bit more compact, but it's basically the same thing. I mean, I've been living in New York all my life. So therefore, the fact that me getting on the subway and getting into a crowded subway car, I don't give it a second thought. Or getting into a crowded bus and things of that nature, or going, walking around, say, Times Square. Once you've been born and been exposed to that for your entire life, you don't think about things like that.
Well, yeah, because you adapt to your environment, of course.
Yeah. I mean, if I was to move to Los Angeles,
Oh my God, no. Don't do it. I will be the first one that will tell you, don't do it.
no, no, I mean, I know I will have to adapt to the fact that it's a different way of life. Of course, it's easy for me to say since I never been to LA, but from what little I do know, it's a different type of life. And I think it's a different type of mentality. Would you agree or disagree?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
That living in LA, it's a different type of mindset compared to living in New York.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For one, you New Yorkers walk way more than Californians or Angelenos will walk. Like we walk an average of what, 4 miles per day on average.
Hmm.
You guys walk 11 miles on average. I'm like, nah, it's completely different. And then on top of that, you guys' spaces are so small. Oh my God, New York square footage is a hot mess. Okay, New York square footage is like, I don't know, Japanese space. You guys live like Japanese people, like in tiny, very restricted spaces compared to California.
Well, I have to admit, there are some apartments in New York, it's a little small. Mine's isn't.
Yeah, because you live in paradise where life begins and never ends. You know, so of course, in your beautiful neighborhood, apartments are spacious. But the rule of thumb of New York uh, is that New York square footage is one of the smallest, if not the smallest, in the nation. Okay, livable spaces are like what? I've seen apartments in New York of 100 square footage. I could not live there. I'm too fat for that. Mm-mm. I can't
Uh,
live in 100 square. No, no, I can't.
well, my apartment is about 820 square feet.
That's very decent.
Okay.
That's very decent.
See? And you find that in Rochester.
Oh my God! Stop with Parkchester. Okay, it's not. No, stop with the Parkchester.
Okay. You do understand this is my home. Let's see what.
Look what Melanated Knight said. The
Yeah.
only people who to beat New York in living in small spaces is Japan. Yeah, like I said, you guys are in a competition or you probably learn from them. But to be honest with you, it's so tiny. I could not, like I said, I'm too fat for New York. I can't live in those spaces. Too tiny for me.
Well, then what? How do you explain me? Because I'm bigger than you.
I know, but still, I'm too close to.
I
You
mean,
know I'm dramatic, Jose. You know
I
I'm
know, I know,
dramatic.
I know. The whole idea of you standing in Times Square on New Year's Eve to wait for the ball to drop and then being hugged and kissed by strangers at the.
Oh, no, no, no. I don't do that. I don't do hug and kissing strangers. I don't do that. I'm like, no. I love a lot of people are so negative in today's society.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go into the comical space on this one because we always talk about the negatives about C-19 and how it took this from us and it took that, but a lot of people don't talk about the positives. Social distancing is the best thing that has happened to humankind, especially in the United States when people have this complete disregard of personal space. You know, it's
Mhm.
one of the best things that I think has happened. Now people are minding their own business, people are flowing more, we are being more attached then to our relatives and our friends and our partners because we are supposed to be close to our loved ones, not to the outsiders. We're supposed to leave those people in peace.
Mhm.
So you see why I don't agree with the whole Times Square hugging and kissing strangers? I don't do that. You don't know if that person brushed their teeth. You don't know if that person took a shower. You don't know if that person scratched certain areas of the body that they should have not scratched. I even avoid handshakes because
So
you don't
what?
know where those hands have been. You
Okay,
know that.
so what would you do when I finally meet you face to face? What you gonna do? Do one of these?
No, and no, of course I'll give you the hand, but I know you're not going to be unshowered and you did not wash your hands after going to the restroom. There's a
No,
lot of people that don't wash their hands after using the loo.
well, if nothing else, what C19 taught us is the necessity of washing our hands for 20 seconds.
And you know what's crazy? You can sing happy birthday in those 20 seconds and have fun. You see, it's like I said, a lot of people talk about the negatives about C19, but I see the positives. Social distancing, like I said, is the best thing that has happened to America because we are now forced to interact with our loved ones, the
Mm,
ones that are part of our clan.
yes. So let's bring Raheem into this.
I'm sorry, guys, having a little issue with my mic there for a second. Yeah,
Okay.
I do believe like what Denise is actually saying because, unfortunately, due to the advanced technology, a lot of people have lived in a false reality where we tend to take our relatives or closest friends that we have for granted, and COVID-19 has made people drop a little bit down to the earth soil a little more bit, where you know things that people took for granted, like spending time with your family, having family meals, being able to communicate with your friends, telling people that you love them, you know, um, having, those close conversations. A lot of that has come back into play, due to this troublesome time that we're in right now. And the ones that, may have taken those for granted, they're getting a reality check because they're looking around and like, wow, I neglected a lot of people and now no one's around for me in my time of need and support, or I'm just here all by myself, or no one that I can call on, especially people that might not be too close with their family.
Yeah, that's true because with the passing of my mother, what I really try to do is to reach out to the family I have left. Um, there have been some. It's been a challenge for some, but you can only do but so much. And in fact, on my next stream, I'll be discussing COVID-19 mandate. Do they help or do they hurt?
That'll definitely be an interesting live stream, Jose. That'll
Yes,
definitely be interesting.
yes. It's going to be basically within the confines of New York because if I don't know if you are aware now, in order to go into the gym or to go to a restaurant, you have to be vaccinated.
Yeah, yeah, they're starting to implement rules to get vaccinated here as well. And I
Yeah,
think in every major city, where if you want to go into venues, you have to be vaccinated. If you want to go to the gym, you have to be vaccinated. Just for work, you have to be vaccinated because Biden is putting into effect this mandated, you
yeah.
know, um, this mandated law where everyone has to be mandated. I mean, everybody has to be vaccinated in order to, go into areas to have some type of entertainment, to be able to work and enjoy yourself. If not, you will just be a hermit that will be living under a bridge, covered up in leaves, while everybody else is still, walking
Well,
around.
get ready to see me with I'm gonna have leaves art and all that stuff until 2023 because I am not getting it. I'm ready. Melanated Night, let's start building our leaves house because I'm not going to.
Well, don't worry, Denise. If you ever decide to come to New York, what I would do is I will order takeout,
Okay.
so you don't have to go to a restaurant.
Yeah, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't. This is the thing. A lot of people, and I get it. Okay, fine. Uh, a lot of people want to be vaccinated. They believe this is what's making them healthy and whatnot. And that is okay. I respect that 100%. Look out for your health, make the decisions that you believe your body needs to seek like a better quality of life. I'm never opposed to that. And I think a lot of people that have not getting vaccinated are not opposed to that reality. Now, my thing is that it's kind of creepy that we're not allowing people to make this decision. And it's like, imagine if America tomorrow wakes up and tells you you're not allowed to commit suicide to a person that wants to commit suicide. What would you say to the government if they implement this stuff?
Well, unfortunately, this whole crisis has been politicized from the giddy up.
Yep.
Okay, and when you think about like when when we had 9/11, I mean, you have the mayor of the city of New York working with the governor of the state of New York. Okay, they were able to put aside their differences and work together to try to see what we can do for New York City to recover from the terrorist attacks. Unfortunately, you saw our mayor feuding with our former governor over a crisis which, as of today, has killed over 30 or 40,000 people in New York.
Yeah, this thing, look, one of the things that I would say that we this will go in history as one of the most notorious events, in my opinion, of course. One of the most notorious events of the American dystopia, because you have such a low sense of community, and I understand that America is so big. It's so big, like literally there's more people. Think about it for a second. There's more people in the state of California than there is in Canada. Okay, that's how big this nation is, and because it's so big, it's going to be extremely rich, but at the same time at the expense of the sense of community. And it creates the perfect dystopia, because if you think about it from the get-go, this has been a social test, how people really are united or how divided people are. We saw different countries supporting each other, minimizing the exposure and helping each other throughout hunger, shortages, and whatnot. But you saw America, the richest nation in the world, hoarding toilet paper when they were telling us not to hoard toilet paper, because in reality, I don't care about my neighbor and how they survive this. I care about me making it through. That is the American mentality. And
Yeah.
whereas there's a lot of benefits out of that mentality, let's not forget that at the same time is in emergencies like this that a lot of people don't tend to think about others. And that is put to the test in natural disasters, either healthcare crisis or storm or whatnot. And we have seen throughout the whole thing, all the way through the vaccinations, where people are not caring. We did not care if we did not wear a mask so that others could be protected from your bacteria. We did not care about washing your hands and whatnot. We did not care about going places while feeling sick. We did not care about arguing and spitting on people's faces over a mask. The police did not care about killing Black people in the middle of a global healthcare crisis. We had a lot of people doing all kinds of stuff. We have been people uh, stealing from businesses during this pandemic because they did not care about that business owner at
Yeah.
the end of the day. So it's like I said, this shows the dystopia that America really is. And now we're seeing it in the vaccination crisis. When you have the unvaccinated and the vaccinated not being able to be neighbors and remain friends, because the government is putting people against each other with this extra political inserts into a healthcare crisis. And to be honest with you, I've never seen this type of behavior before because I come from a more smaller setting. So, of course, now that we're seeing this, there's some feedback. Is it you, Jose? Let me see if it's me.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So, back to what I was saying. This whole disagreements has torn apart a lot of relationships. We've seen marriages getting dissolved, friendships ending, neighbors being against their neighbor, co-worker against co-worker. We've seen all kinds of relationships in the social setting suffering as a result of what's happening and what our politicians are doing. Our leaders failed the nation. That should be like the bigger message right now. Instead of fighting each other over if somebody wants to take medication to preserve their lives or not, we should be looking at why then we're being put against each other in such a personal and individual decision.
But unfortunately, what is the problem is that we fail to recognize that other people's viewpoints matter. Okay. Ever since the onset of the crisis, my message has not changed. As a union rep, I told our members the following: speak with your primary care physician. Ask them questions. Based on the knowledge, you decide whether or not to be vaccinated or not vaccinated.
Yeah, and not only that, let's not forget we have right now, even in the state of New York, for example, there are New York hospitals right now that are not their maternity aisle has been closed down because healthcare workers are not ready to take the vaccine, therefore they're being laid off.
Mhm.
So this confusion, a lot of people love to hammer their insults against the unvaccinated, and you have to take into consideration that skepticism is part of human nature. Somebody, we don't have enough data because there has never been a huge rollout of mRNA based vaccines in the world to actually document how our bodies react to this in the long run. So when people say, oh, I have my research, no, you don't. You are the research. And if you're willing to take that risk, I applaud you because you're doing it for the sake of humanity. But at the same time, if somebody doesn't want to be uh, put in that position, they should be entitled to do so. I don't see a problem with neither.
Yes. Uh, let's welcome Ramon. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the original topic. But the fact of the matter is, we need to have serious discussion regarding, how we need to accept other people's viewpoints. Good evening, Ramon.
Good evening, Don Jose. Good evening, guys. Again, how's it going along? The whole string. I know that I'm a little late. Something came up, and I remember the subject that you were originally gonna cover, and it's perfectly fine. We can talk about a little bit about this, the whole thing with the vaccinated, because I got vaccinated myself. I held out for like a year because I didn't want to do it, but I ended up relenting. Um, because I needed to do a little bit of traveling, and just as a precaution. So I relented. I yielded. I know maybe I shouldn't have, because I didn't want it to. I was skeptical just as much as everybody.
Yeah, neither did I, Ramon. I had to do it
But
for
did
work.
it benefited you, Do you feel like it benefited you, Ramon?
Well, right now it's not benefiting me at all, because I was supposedly, once I got the vaccinated, the vaccine at work. When I showed proof, then I didn't have to wear the mask. But because of the new variants that are out and about, then they have to go back on that. Even though I had shown my proof, that I got the vaccine. Then a few days later, they they told me at work that I needed to wear the mask again because of the variants, and because there have been a couple of people that still got sick, and at my job about 20 people got sick. So they're being very strict when it comes to the whole thing about the mask. I hate it. I hate it. I keep asking my department lead about that, if that's gonna change, if that's gonna be if they're gonna let up on that, so I don't have to wear the fucking masks. But I haven't gotten feedback on that.
That's
So
crazy because look, Texas has been one of the most
affected.
more affected, but at the same time, I feel like they've been the most grounded when it comes to these restrictions as compared to states like California and New York. And we're still seeing, that this whole thing is being pushed on people. That's my whole thing. It's like, I'm not saying that it's okay to be reckless with your health and the health of others. What I'm saying is, like, regardless of how careful we are, we're still gonna have people that are gonna get COVID, just the same people that will get the flu. It's the same way. It's
And
going
I've
to
never.
happen.
Yeah. And when it comes to the flu, I did get the flu, but that was when I was still in Puerto Rico, and I never got the flu shot for that. But I did get the regular flu at one time when I was in Puerto Rico, and I still remember the symptoms. I still remember having trouble breathing because basically my trachea kind of swelled up and up to my nostrils. It got swelling up, and I was having difficulty to breathe at night and all. But I pushed through it. And after that, even when I moved to the mainland, I never got the flu shot. I never needed it because I figured, well, I got the antibodies for that now. But when it comes to this whole thing with the COVID, yeah, I ended up relenting, but that was because of something that I needed to do. I needed to travel. I was going to another country, and I did it out of precaution, as much as I
Yeah.
didn't want it to, because there are people that maybe for political reasons they can go on and on talking about that it's all a hoax and that it's not real, and that
Yeah.
mask is slavery. They start talking stupid shit like that, and they don't follow, they don't wanna take any simple precautions, but you can look up the videos of all the nurses in ICUs that had to look over, that had to deal with patients refusing to admit that they had COVID, and they were insistent as they were dying. They were insistent that no, I don't have no COVID. I have something else. Tell me what it is. Don't lie to me. Tell me what I really have.
Oh my God, really?
No, there were
That's
people that were
hilarious.
dying in denial. This far right wingers, MAGA hat wearers,
Yeah, yeah,
types.
yeah. You're right.
You can look it
You're right,
up. You can look
Ramon.
it up. The video. You should be able to find the videos out
I'm
there.
gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah.
Because there was
Of
one
the
guy. He was a
testimony from the nurses that were dealing with these patients that were so in denial, right wingers, and as they were dying, they were still in denial, taking the last
Jesus
breath in
Christ.
denial, not admitting that they had the fucking COVID. Yeah.
But
Wow.
you know something? You have certain individuals that have their own deluded sense of reality. I mean, there's no other way to
I'll be back.
explain it. And I mean, I got vaccinated. I got the second dose back in March. It does that in my case, I have certain health concerns that I was concerned that if I didn't get vaccinated, that if I was to come down with COVID, it might have devastating effects on my health. And the fact of the matter is, even though I was wearing a mask, even though I was practicing social distancing, even though I was washing my hands 20 seconds, I got COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's something that is in the air. It's airborne, so washing hands is not doesn't guarantee much.
No.
If it's something that you're gonna get it through the air, it reminded me of this movie that came out back in the '90s called Outbreak, in which is kind of like that kind of thing about a virus that goes airborne and kills people. It's something much more dramatic, but this one supposedly, I mean, it's a fictional virus that came out of the African continent and it managed to get into the US and a whole town got infected and they were dying really quickly because of course, it's not that dissimilar the symptoms because the people were losing some of their organs, the internal organs, and they were liquefying and and they couldn't breathe. Other internal organs will liquefy because the virus was so strong and. Okay, it's an exaggeration. That's not what's happening here. But the one thing in common with what was portrayed in that movie was that's when in that movie I first heard the term airborne, referring to a virus that could be contagious just through the air, like because it could float. It was they were explaining that virus had developed a kind of like a protein or something that allowed it to survive outside of a host, because that's key for a virus to survive. To be able to be transmitted, it has to be able to live outside of a host, and that's kind of like what it shouldn't be happening with this virus. It should die when it's outside of a host, but apparently it has developed, it has evolved, so it cannot survive outside of a host, and that's what makes it so dangerous and contagious. And yeah. I mean, I don't know if we're gonna be seeing the end of it. I hope we can. I really hope that we can see the end of it, because this whole thing about spending the rest of my days wearing a fucking mask, I don't know. It's kind of like no, I don't know if I can do it.
Well, the fact, I mean, think about it. I love cold weather. So me wearing a mask when it's like 95 degrees outside with high humidity is not exactly my idea of
No.
fun. But let's go back to the original topic,
Yes.
which was becoming a homeowner. Now, I'm just what you need to do in order to become successful. First of all, you have to put away some money. Second, you have to have a reasonably good credit score. Okay. Then once that's done, you're able to apply to get pre-approval for a mortgage. Once you get that, then you're in business and you can start looking for property. But you need to be clear on what type of property that you want to purchase. And you have to know yourself. Like, for example, if you're the type of person that you're not a handy person, unless you want to spend a lot of money, doing work that you could do, you might want to think about a condo or a co-op. And then you have to do your due diligence and search. And then once you find a property that you're interested, make an offer. Hopefully at some point it will be accepted. And then you have to pay to get an inspection done. And then you have to wait until the day comes when you come in for the closing. And let me tell you something. It can take you 3 to 4 hours, because you're going to be filling up a stack of paper, signing stack papers this thick.
Whoa.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Is there like a real need for that for there to be so many
Yes.
papers? Wow.
Yes, because I've been through a closing, so believe me.
Oh,
And I was there for about 3 to 4 hours.
oh, wow.
Yes.
God damn.
So if you're the type of person that wants to get things done in 20 minutes, don't.
Yeah, that's kind of how I will be, but I guess it's on some well, it's something that is very important to get done. So sometimes you have to put in some time into it. So that even if one doesn't like it, that's just how it is. So
Yeah. And believe me, the real estate market is so competitive.
mhm.
I mean, you can take a look at a piece of property, and then when you finally send a text to your agent, guess what? The property has either been sold or is under contract, which means an offer was made and accepted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure that's how it goes.
Yeah. So, Joaquin, you have anything you wish to add?
Yeah, sorry guys, I was sitting here eating. No, I was just I don't have much to add on the property on what we were speaking about earlier about property. I just wanted to say that Ramon was absolutely right, is what he was saying earlier about, a lot of people refusing to believe that they actually have COVID and dying in the process, falling victim to foolishness without taking the necessary precautions to prevent it. Like what Ramon was saying, I held out myself for a year, and then I was told that I actually had to get um, the vaccine in order to continue to work. So I absolutely had no choice because it's my livelihood. But the good side to that is, if I happen to feel like I'm about to check out, I'm going to call you guys and tell you guys not to get it.
Yeah,
But you know
yeah.
what's crazy?
How do you guys feel about these boosters now that they want to give people?
I still don't know anything about it. I will have to get some info on that. Maybe I haven't gotten any info on the boosters because I'm really not interested in
Well,
getting them.
They already authorized the boosters.
Well, when I hear about it at work, then I'm gonna kind of like getting into learn what that's about, or maybe I won't wait that long. But since I haven't been told anything at work about it, then yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I know that it may have something to do with the Delta variants and maybe another variants like the
The
what is it?
moo, the
The
moo.
the moon. Right, right, right. I heard about that one too. Yeah, it's like that's not. Is that ever gonna end? Which other one are they gonna come out with next? I'm waiting for them to.
The Ramon variant.
Uh,
or
yeah,
the Denise variant.
Or
yeah, they're
The
gonna start.
Denise variant.
Yeah, they're gonna put names on them like they used to, like they put names on hurricanes or something like that.
Yeah, the Denise variant is going to be very annoying. A
Ah,
very annoying variant.
okay, well they better come up with the vaccine for that one.
Yeah,
Well,
that vaccine needs to be very powerful. That one's going to be annoying.
Wow. Ah, sure. Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what else to say when it comes to that, and I hate it because it has kind of like it has changed the world. This whole thing with this pandemic, it has changed the world. There are certain things, as you have said yourself, Denise, when it comes to certain things that they're not gonna be the same. It's not gonna go back to how we used to be. Certain
Oh,
things
no.
are not gonna they're not gonna go back. So
Yeah, like right now, we were supposed to bounce back to 6 million jobs.
yeah.
And the only amount of jobs that the governor of California produced was 235,000.
No.
So, like right now, like everybody's hiring, but nobody's really hiring.
Okay.
When they put the signs, we're hiring, but people don't get called to actually fulfill those positions. What are they going to do?
But I just well, there is something that I heard about a month ago called the Great Resignation, which is a whole bunch of people that they were quitting their jobs and
Yeah, it did
they
happen
were.
around March and April. A lot of people did, and I blame this government's closing us up once again when
Mhm.
we were ready and eager to go out.
Yeah.
So because they did that, a lot of people have to look at it this way. If you have on one end, you're telling people to be scared and fearful of an unknown, uh, you know, thing that's gonna sneak into whatever pore you have in your body,
Mm.
and it's going to cause all kinds of trouble. And you tell them at the same time, I'm gonna take care of you outside of work, and you have a lot of employers here not providing PPE, literally laxing on that. Like you will ask them, hey, can you provide a max or plexiglass and whatnot?
Mhm.
And they were literally relentless to even fathom that idea. They were like, no, we don't have to provide that. I know that you can ask Melanie Knight, like even into the pandemic, like his job was like literally dragging his feet to give him PPE.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, so a lot of people say, hey, you know what? These people really don't care about us.
Yeah.
Let's just quit. Now that the government is no longer taking care of them, but the scare is so big, you can really blame people for saying, hey, I don't know if I want to come back. I don't know if I want to die. Because you've been telling people you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die the whole year.
Mhm.
You've been telling people that for almost 2 years that they're going to die.
And not only that,
So how do
Denise,
you make them come back?
and
Uh,
not only that, Denise, but people have been seeing people die to reinforce that rhetoric. So that's even scarier.
Yeah, it's been a trauma in all ends, I think. And then on top of that, instead of you, I think one of the reasons why the job market is at the way it is today is because we had a real estate, I mean, a reality TV star managing this health crisis. And now you have a person that's completely sealed in information. That creates a lot of mistrust in this process, a lot of mistrust, because you have so many different informations. There was a point in the pandemic early on when they were saying that this could not transmit from person to person. I don't know if you guys remember that part.
I
At
remember
first, it
that.
was like it could not be transmitted from person to person. And then you have Dr. Fauci telling you, don't wear a mask. Masks are not needed. And then later on, he's like, no, I lied because we needed that for the healthcare providers.
but
And
then,
then you have people telling you that this is a hoax. But then you had the president telling you that hydroxychloroquine actually works. And you have a sector of people that are telling you that it doesn't work. But then you see the president getting better with it. And there's a lot of things that have snowballed into creating, like I said, the perfect storm for starvation, poverty, unemployment, and depression.
well, in our case, back in March of 2020, the city did not want us to wear masks. Okay, so the unions had to fight just for us to be able to wear masks, for us to get PPE equipment. And then they made it possible for 80,000 municipal employees to work remotely. Now, the crazy part of all this is that tomorrow, that the 80,000 municipal employees that have been working remotely, guess what? They have to return to the office and work full time. Meanwhile, there's a Delta variant. Okay.
Mhm.
So, I mean, so that's just crazy. And in fact, the municipal unions are right now are taking the city to court because how could you mandate people to do certain things without any discussion with the unions.
Yeah.
Not only
Well,
not only that, you're sending people back to work under the fear of different variants. You
Mhm.
know, and now that we have discovered that even fully vaccinated people are dying, 2% of the people that are dying today are fully vaccinated. So it's like I said, this is nothing that has been fixed. I think it's like if you're hemorrhaging, and I feel like that's COVID, and the vaccine was just a band-aid.
Yeah,
That's how it feels, like a band-aid on somebody that's hemorrhaging.
yeah. You know, it's just that I have a feeling like in 100 years from now, people are going to take a look at this and they're going to say, you know, you know, why, you know, why people cannot, you know, put aside their differences and try to work together. And why? I mean, the thing is, you have people who've been fully vaccinated trying to shame ours to get vaccinated. The fact of the matter is this: there's a great deal of mistrust in our government. You have people who medically cannot be vaccinated for whatever reason. And then you're talking about vaccines. The only one that's been fully approved is Pfizer. The other two, they received only emergency approval.
yeah. Well, Pfizer is not the one that I got. Actually, the one that
I got Moderna,
Yeah, I
so
got Moderna. I got
yeah,
Moderna as well.
I got the Janssen, which is the Johnson and Johnson one that is the
Oh
single dose.
no, Ramon, you got the worst.
Yeah, you got the worst one.
Well, I mean, I went right, and I know that there were doubts about that one, but I went to I went to my department head. I went to well, actually, he's the vice president now of where I work. A good guy, good guy. He's somebody who started out at a lower position, somebody that I work directly with, and he's a good guy, and that's why I felt comfortable going to him for advice. And he's the vice president, and I asked him about it, and he told me, look, the one that I got, the one that I had for my family, the one that I had for my relatives, the ones that my relatives in New York got right now is the Janssen. So and none of them had come down with any side effects, with any conditions after getting that dose. So that would be my recommendation. And I went, and that's the way that I went because I went and got some advice about that. So well, I'm gonna have to start with that decision. I haven't gotten any side effects myself. So far, so good. But yeah, I'm worried. What I'm worried about is when it comes to the boosters. So
Yeah,
that
because
I don't know.
they say that you don't get, just because you got vaccinated, that doesn't mean that it's gonna be forever. You're gonna have to get a booster, I believe, every 6 months, something like that.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
Sure. I
Well,
don't know.
it's funny. Last week I went to see my primary care physician. One of my concern was regarding the booster and what have you. Now, supposedly, like in November, I will be eligible to get the booster. Should I be so inclined to get it? I'm not too sure. I don't know. I will have to think up. I will have to think about that. But I will say this much. Thanks to this pandemic, I discovered Zoom and virtual meetings. Okay. And what's crazy about it is that you're having a virtual meeting and then you have somebody who forgot to mute themselves and you can hear the TV going in the background.
Mm.
Or you can hear a child screaming in the background, or you hear a dog barking in the background, and it's like, people, please mute.
I thought you were gonna say something that somebody said, something that they shouldn't have said on a stream. I thought that's what you were, something that had to do with vaccines or boosters. No, yeah, but there are certain folks that they could be on some kind of a meeting, online meeting, and they have all kinds of things going on, or you can see it on live stream on YouTube, that they're trying to do a live stream, and you can hear, like you just described, they can hear other people talking loud, or they have a bunch of kids screaming or crying, or the TV really loud, their pets and making noise. Yeah, there are people that kind of like, they live very chaotic like that. So I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. If I know that I'm gonna be talking to somebody, I need quiet around me. So it's like I'm right now. That's why you don't hear me. You don't when I'm talking to you guys. You don't hear any noise around me. I mean, if I have the TV, I mute it, something like that. That's just common courtesy.
Yeah. Um, Question, Ramon. You ever thought about buying property or your own property?
Well, I have invested in a couple of properties, one in Puerto Rico and another in the Dominican Republic with my friends down there. But here in the United States, I did go shopping like a couple of years ago, but I was having a difficulty because I couldn't qualify for a loan because I was applying by myself. So it was only one income. So that became a bit of an issue. So so if I can resolve an issue that I'm having right now, I'm not gonna get into it. That those have to do with money. If I can be in the clear about that situation, and then uh, try it again, but maybe in another city or something like that, then I would like to give it another try, because I would like to have something for myself. This whole thing about paying for a lease, it is very tiresome. I already come from a culture where we don't like to do that really, and so eventually I would like to have a little something for myself, but it may be a little difficult because of where I'm at, where I'm working at, and any little decent piece of property can start at $300,000. So I don't know if it's I don't know what's gonna happen, but eventually I would like to get into that.
Well, I think the key is try to put away some money,
Mhm.
but it's a down payment. Try to have a healthy credit history,
Yeah,
so that way you can go to a bank and get a pre-approval for a mortgage. Once you have the pre-approval, then you're set.
yeah.
Okay. Rakeem, do you ever think about owning property at some point in the future?
Hakeem.
Maybe the slow tips got him.
Yeah,
Yeah, the slow tips got
possibly.
him.
Denise,
Yeah.
have you ever thought about maybe in the future owning property? You may want to think about a house or a condo or what have you. Ever thought about it? Like once you move, once you settle into whatever it is you're gonna live.
Yeah, we're right now looking at owning in Puerto Rico because we're gonna relocate back home. And also we're gonna start the process of building our dream home at the same time. So it's definitely something me and Melanie tonight are working on as of now.
Okay.
So definitely, yeah, that's why I've looked through so many information, got so many information and questions answered. That's why I'm like, I love the subject of real estate because it's something that I personally I'm going through right now. And in what I have learned that I can share with anybody else, share it. That's why I said there's a lot of programs out there that can help you get into a home. And like I said, if you're looking to invest, don't invest in a single home, in a single family home. Go for a multi. a family property, rent the other half, have that person pay the mortgage for you, and then eventually move out and rent both and reinvest.
Okay. You know something? I think I'm going to do a second part to this, so we can, talk about this further. When I'm going to do this, I don't know because it'll probably be in October. Um, Now that Rakeem is back, Rakeem,
Yeah, guys, StreamYard has not been my friend today. I've been having all types of technical difficulties. I heard you guys. I heard when what you said, Jose and Ramon, asking me to respond, but I couldn't unmute myself for some reason, so I had to exit out.
okay,
Actually, I am paying towards my property right now, Ramon. I'm in my house right here in the suburbs of Chicago,
mhm.
and I'm working towards owning it. I pay mortgage every
Okay,
year. Currently, I'm in a 30-year mortgage, which I'm trying
mhm.
to knock that down to 15.
Okay,
Uh, yeah. The 30-year mortgages are really not that great of an idea. Maybe
No,
we'll
it's
have
not.
worked. Maybe we'll have worked with somebody who will have been able to purchase the house or be approved for a mortgage when they were fairly young. But when one is older, that getting into something that for 30 years like that, that's just not an option. It's not an option.
Why don't you, Rakim, if you don't mind me asking, did the numbers also for 15 years when you purchased that property?
No, actually, my grandmother did the most of the paperwork and everything,
Okay.
and it was in her name. It just got passed down to me.
Because one thing you can do is like monthly
Hmm.
invest in the SP 500.
Yeah,
The
I.
amount, like for example, let's say you pay right now at 30 years, you paid $1,000 for your property. Let's
Mhm.
say that's, hypothetically. And if you would have gotten at 15 years, you would have paid 1,800. Imagine you're paying in 15 years and put the 800s into your portfolio in the SP 500. Those are the 500 top companies in the stock market, and you keep putting that monthly in there. By the time you have 10 years investing this amount of money, you can pay off the property, so you don't have to
Oh wow.
necessarily worry or come up with the 30 years of payments that way. Because even if you get a 6% return, which is being conservative, you can actually just put that money towards your property again.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely going to look into that, Denise, because right now what I've been doing as well is paying money on the principal to actually get the payments down even more.
Yeah, that's another way of doing it because it cuts the interest and the length of the loan. But definitely look into that, just in case, and just leave that money in there, just in case.
Okay. No,
Or
I definitely will.
if you don't want to do it now, wait until the market crashes, and trust me, it will crash, and then buy it super cheap and invest in that extra money and just leave it there and keep growing your portfolio.
Okay. No, I definitely will. I'm definitely going to do my research on that, and I'm going to actually follow that advice and take action.
Mhm. Well, I can vouch for the fact that timing is very important. Um, when I purchased my two-bedroom condo in Parkchester, um, I paid 190,000 for it. Now, if you want a one-bedroom apartment, be prepared to spend over 200,000.
I'm sure. I was expecting you to say a bigger number because
No, I mean,
anything in New York is
let
supposed
me,
to be so expensive.
okay. Well, let me put it to you this way: I've seen two-bedroom apartments for as much as almost 300,000 to start.
That's
Good.
that's nothing in California. That
Mhm.
will buy you a 1968 built home that is in shambles and it's a fixer upper.
Which means New York is a better place to live.
No, Puerto Rico is a better place to live.
Well, the market, well, the real estate market in Puerto Rico should be more of a buyer's market right now. I haven't asked recently, but just not long ago, I was talking to my mom about it because she's the one who knows more about this. She's down there, and there are places where you can get something at less than 100,000. I mean, and
Yeah,
decent too.
you can get a property for 79,000, even 58,000 right now in Puerto Rico. Now, I've seen the market go up drastically in the last year, but
Yeah, yeah.
obviously it's gonna go up and it's gonna go in revision. That's like my forecast on it. It's going to go into revision once all of this stuff is lifted. The foreclosures start happening after October, and I think in 2022 or 2023 the balloon is going to pop and prices are going to drop again because people are not leaving their homes right now. There's not a lot of inventory in the market, so of course you're going to see less people selling their property right now, but the demand is out there because we have less interest rates right now,
Yeah.
and a lot of people want to purchase their first home, but there's not a lot of properties, so that shoots up the prices because there's not enough supply to contribute to the demand that we have right now. But eventually it will happen. You will see the prices on properties drop drastically. 20 last quarter of 2022 and 2023, you'll see it.
Mhm. Well, in my case, what I plan to do is after I retire from working from the city, what I plan to do is put away some money, buy a condo in Connecticut, and then sell the condo I have in Parkchester, which I'm sure I'm probably going to get maybe close to 300,000. And what I can do is, after satisfying the original mortgage, pay most, or if not all, of the mortgage on the condo in Connecticut, and the only thing I have to worry about is the maintenance.
I see.
So
Yeah, it's a better market in Connecticut, obviously.
yeah, well, the plan is to be with my nephews and nieces
Yeah.
when I retire. I do. You know, I'm used to living in New York. Well, even with all the so-called craziness that Denise talks about,
Mhm.
um, you
Yeah,
know,
but it's home for you. That's what you know.
yeah,
No, I get it. I get it.
yeah. So, Denise, any other comments you like to make?
Mm.
Okay, Denise, are you there?
Ah, Denise. Oh, okay.
Okay, wow.
She got a.
She might
Well,
have some,
Right.
she might have some technical problems.
Yeah. She
yeah, I'm
might.
still around, guys. I'm still around. The taps didn't get me this time.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
they got Denise though. It seems.
okay, but you know what? I got a new name. The MIC, the mentally and intellectually challenged.
Uh,
The
MIC.
MIC, like MC. I just call them the UTA, the United Taps of America.
But you know something? One of these days, I'm going to do a stream political correctness.
A stream on political correctness. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that will be
what
a.
has it gone? Has it gone overboard?
Yeah, it has gone to shit. I mean, I have, of course,
Yeah,
I have been familiar
yeah.
with the term political correctness for the last 30 years or so, of course. But it has gotten, it has gotten too overboard in the last several years. Uh, like the generations, the newer generations, being very critical of something that happened in the generation before that nobody was thinking about, nobody was saying anything about, and they wanna have something to be mad about because apparently these people, these younger people, they have too much time on their hands and they need to have something to be mad about. They have too many first world problems. That's why they have all that time to be mad, to be about things that are fairly trivial. that have nothing to do with with real life, with the real world, and they do that. They do that. They have a lot of time to criticize somebody's opinion or the whole cancel culture thing. That's relatively new. That ties in into the whole political correctness, not being able to express one's opinion, certain people not being able to respect other people's opinions. But of course, their opinion, they have to be obeyed. What they say has to be obeyed. I mean, there is no balance on that. There is no like mutual respect. There should be some of that, but there isn't any of that. I mean, yeah, it has gotten overboard. So.
Well, would you believe that?
I agree, Ramon. It's going crazy.
Yeah.
Would you believe I gone through sexual harassment training twice in this year alone?
You shouldn't have to have gone through that if you haven't done anything. Because one thing it will be somebody making some type of allegation, somebody feeling uncomfortable about you. If they could prove that you actually did something, because there are people that talk shit and they make frivolous allegations and that they won't be able to back up on the scrutiny. But you having to go through that, and I don't know. I think that they were kind of like low key alleging something or making an assumption about you. I will be offended. I will be insulted. So that you shouldn't have had to go through that if you haven't done anything. I mean, because that's like a preemptive allegation waiting to happen.
But it's the crazy part. It's mandatory for all the employees of our agency to go through this, and the fact that we have to go through this twice in 1 year.
Twice in 1 year, but okay, all right. But now you see that's kind of getting out of control. They're gonna have you doing that monthly soon enough. I mean,
Please don't. Please, I mean, if some people had their way, I'll be going through this weekly.
Nah. Now you are the one who's gonna be harassed. Then you should be able to have some kind of a case about you being harassed with kind of like trying to low key alleging that you are a potential harasser, because that's how it is with being a man. You're either a potential harasser, a potential rapist, a potential misogynist. I mean, that is the assumption that you potentially are going to be either one of those things.
Yeah.
Don't forget potential predator, Ramon.
No, as a stalker, a rapist, and so on. Just by being a man, just by having been born with a Y chromosome, then you are all of those things, according to certain types.
Okay. Let's see. Denise, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah, maybe somebody assuming that she was a baby or something. They got her.
Denise, did the state taps get you while you was over there? Did the state taps try to grab you?
Denise, I have a new term.
Yeah, what is it?
The MIC, the mentally intellectually challenged.
Oh my God,
the mics.
The mics.
I like that one.
That's good.
Could you imagine when I do my live stream regarding political correctness?
Oh, that's gonna be. Oh my God, the correctives are coming for you.
They're gonna have a bullseye on me, but you know what? I don't care.
No, those things need to be talked about.
Yes.
Hey, I just wanted to say something, fellas. Not to go off topic, but I just wanted to say I know it's been a while since we've all been able to been on a live stream together, and it's been a pleasure to be here to be speaking with you guys once again.
Hey, same here.
Well, you know
Me
what?
too.
You know what? You're kind of like my extended family, and of course, Denise is my cyber daughter.
Same,
Definitely.
Jose. Same.
The one, the only. I'm joking. I'm joking.
We all respect each other, and we all are mature people that
Yeah.
talks about real life issues. Of course, we entertain ourselves with the BS because why not? It's funny, but
But
Yeah, yeah, maybe at the moment, but if it gets carried away and people are needing to disrespect one another, then no, that's like, nah, that's not cute. Man, maybe for 2 3 seconds it's entertaining, but if one is a thinking person, one immediately goes like, nah, that wasn't necessary. Taking it there and kind of like
yeah,
calling
yeah,
somebody a name and shit. That's sort of like a little laugh at the moment, but then you're like no, that was messed up.
yeah, you absolutely, absolutely, Jose, you're absolutely correct, and it just comes from people not being, um, not having enough common sense, like Jose would say, because they'll get mad and they can't counter somebody's argument, so now they want to throw insults. And if you can't counter someone's argument, you can just easily say there's a possibility you might be right, but I'll agree to disagree until I do further research into your opinion on that. There's no reason to hurl insults and disrespect people.
Yeah. Yep.
well, the fact of the matter is, the whole purpose of my channel, which is to deal with everyday issues and trying to find the logic and solutions. Okay, I am not going to do stuff like where women are a bear, a deer, and a rabbit. You know, more power to whoever. More power if people want to do those type of strains. My type of strains is basically dealing with issues and come with logical, reasonable solutions. And the reason why I call it uncommon sense, because if it was common sense, people would use it more often. Now, I'm going to start to wrap this up, but again, I just want to encourage everybody to please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification. So, therefore, you will be notified whenever I upload material. And just to let everybody know, my next stream will be on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and 8 o'clock Texas time, whatever that is.
Yeah, Central. That's Central.
Okay, so now we're going to go into closing remarks. And of course, I'm going to begin with the one, the only, Denise Gonzalez.
Thank you for that intro. My final thoughts on becoming a homeowner, just to reiterate what I said earlier, is how willing you are to first know the market, know how to bargain, and also how where you are of the programs that are out there. And before you jump into this, you have to have a goal. Either you want to be set and settled roots in that place, or you want to invest in real estate and use it as a form of business or retirement fund. But either way, you still need the same principles: know how to bargain, understand the market, and get to know the programs that are out there to better serve you. And without any further ado, that's all I got for today. Thank you, Jose, for having me. It was a pleasure. And more streams like this are needed where we can actually have a conversation. And I also want to thank Rakim and Ramon for being here and discussing this with me and Jose and whatnot. So thank you guys for having me.
Hey,
Uh,
it's good to hear you. Good to hear you again. Because
Good to
you were
hear
kind
from
of
you,
away.
Denise, as
Yeah.
always.
well, we are going to do a part two to this. When we'll see, because you're going to be in Puerto Rico for a while, so you're probably going to unplug from social media,
Yeah,
Denise.
this week is the last. I think the Wednesday I'll be active on social media. After that is going to be just very notorious news that might be to need to be discussed or something, or that I want to bring attention to. But mostly I'll be on Instagram here and there, but I'll be completely disconnected from YouTube.
Okay. So I'm going to put you in the background. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to go to Joaquin and closing remarks.
Okay, once again, Jose, thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. It's always an honor to be able to converse with you, Denise and Ramon. And my closing statements is that uh, you want to have some type of property ownership because it's important to be able to leave something to your children, to be able to have a house that you can call yours, where you won't necessarily have to worry about renting, because we've all been there, especially with renting, and it's almost like you just giving money while that person is paying off their mortgages and putting their kids through college with that. And it's important to understand the power of credit, to make sure that you invested in and knowledgeable of real estate, and knowledgeable of different agents and various things like that, to be able to search through different homes that you may be interested in, making sure not to overpay, making sure to be cautious of any type of contracts and things of that nature. And that's all I got to offer.
Well, thank you very much, Joaquin, for joining us. Of course, it's always a pleasure. So now I'm going to put you in the background. So now, Ramon, your final thoughts.
Definitely, I will be looking forward to to a continuation on the subject, which is something that I could definitely pick up some pointers, because you guys have more experience on that, particularly on how the market works here in the States. So it is something that it will do me good. I mean, I don't have that much to bring into it, because I haven't had that experience out here. So I'll be checking it out. I'm looking forward to it. I do have a question.
Yes.
What's the name of your actual channel? Because
Uncommon Sense.
ah, yeah, I'm gonna be looking at that, because I got you on Instagram, but I don't got you on YouTube. So so I can get the notifications, as you were saying, notifications of new streams or videos that you will be putting up. So I'm gonna be looking at it. Yeah.
Well, whenever prior to what I'll do is I'll send you the link.
Okay.
So
Sure.
that way, if you're so inclined to participate, you can do so. Do you have anything else you wish to add?
No, for the moment, that will be it. I'm looking forward to it, and of course, I appreciate you letting me on your panel.
Well, thank you very much. Now I'm going to put you in the background. Now I'm going to give my final thoughts. The fact of the matter is, to own your own home is a lofty goal. But with a goal, you need to have strategy. And what is that strategy? First of all, you need to put away some money. You need to have a reasonably satisfactory credit history. You must know what you wish to purchase, because there's one thing if you buy a house, there's another thing if you buy a condo, it's another thing you buy a co-op. And then you have to deal with trying to find the right people to help you to achieve your goal. But it is possible. It's just that you need to have the determination to do so. I'd like to thank Denise, Ramon, and Joaquin for joining the panel and being part of my cyber home. I thank all of you who've been watching the stream on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. And just as a reminder, this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will do another live stream regarding COVID-19 mandates. Do they help or do they hurt? What we're going to do is we're going to discuss them and we're going to separate the myths from the reality. So I would encourage everyone to please do so. And again, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification so you could be aware whenever I upload material. And then, as always, I'm going to close the same way. People, please be careful out there because we are dealing with C-19 and we must do everything we can to avoid contact from the MIC or else we will be infected by their stupidity. That being said, this has been Jose Negron, and this has been another live stream of Uncommon Sense, and I will catch you at the next stream. Peace.